Hi, we're looking at more Modern Horizon spoilers. I think spoilers continue through this week, meaning that we'll have new spoilers each day, I'm thinking, all the way to the end. And then I think it's over. I think this is the last week of spoilers, so I think we've seen most of the mythics and such now. Ooh, Unearth. Interesting, interesting. This is a pretty nice utility card. Of course, it doesn't power like the typical Reanimator decks where you're trying to pull some gigantic Grieselbrand-esque creature out and just win the game with that. It's more just kind of like a utility Reanimator thing, just trying to grind out value. Cycling is quite nice on it too. I could see this in some bizarre combo deck as an enabler, where you have cheap creatures that are part of the combo, like the Visor of Remedies Devoted Druid combo, which I don't think is in Modern. But things like that, it's often a lot easier to get stuff in your graveyard than it is to get it in your hand. So this basically allows you to dump things into your graveyard as a method of tutoring stuff out or searching stuff out. Yeah, this is pretty solid, I think. The art is creepy. That thing really less than 3 CMC? I don't know. Dead of Winter, all non-snow permanents get -X until end of turn, where X is the number of snow permanents you control. So again, snow themes coming through to a much greater extent than I would have expected. I guess snow is such a parasitic mechanic that they needed to kind of go hard on snow if they're going to go into snow at all. I'm kind of surprised that they did, though. I was fairly certain. I'm not sure why I became so certain, but I felt fairly certain that Kaldheim would be the next standard expansion. And I feel like doing all of this snow in Modern Horizons actually just sort of lowers the novelty and the impact of snow in Kaldheim. And I'm like positive that if they're going to do Kaldheim, they would do snow. Kaldheim being the Viking endless battle world that's been previewed in like Plane Chase and stuff. Anyways, I'm still very unconvinced of the snow deck. Unconvinced. This seems more just kind of for casual fun and as a limited archetype. I'm going to be shocked if snow is ever pushed to the tier of constructed playability in Modern. But I don't know. Maybe they're hoping that like the back-to-back of Modern Horizons snow, where they can put snow in as like a limited thing, and then Kaldheim snow can make it more of an archetype, but like normally they're doing that as a standard archetype if they're putting it in a standard set. So like why would they bolster it with cards that aren't standard legal? I don't know. Whatever. This is how it is. Endling. Oh snap! Look. We got the Ling. We got the Shapeshifter. We got two people looking at each other. The Ling cycle continues. Of course, started with Morphling way back in Urza Saga, which at the time was like one of the best creatures ever. Then we had Thornling, Torchling, Brightling, Aetherling, which was like the big blue one. I think that's it. So this is actually the final color to get a Ling. All of them have been decent. Brightling, I think, actually sees legacy play. Sometimes it was never standard legal, of course. Aetherling in standard was a pretty big powerhouse. Torchling and Thornling, I don't think really made much of a constructed impact, but they're solid enough cards. And it's like they're always really willing to push these designs. Like they want to make it exciting. So I am excited. Okay. So like all other Lings, it has a slew of activated abilities. I can get Menace, Death Touch, or Undying. Whoa! Okay, this one is especially very solid. And then this is another standard Ling ability that you get free control over its stats. Yeah, this is pretty sweet. The fact that it can get Undying makes it really very good value. That you're getting 3 power and then 4 power for just 2 mana. or 4 mana. Yeah, this is quite nice too. The fact that you can give it Death Touch and then pump up this toughness, meaning that it can tank whatever, and as long as its power is at least 1, you can kill it. All of these cards were much better when damage went on the stack, that you could pump up its power, put damage on the stack, and then before it took its damage, like the damage was just waiting to apply on the stack. This is how it used to work before Magic 2010 or before 7th edition. I can't remember. Maybe before 8th edition. I don't know. But they changed it so that now you just take damage instantly. But back then, you used to have this chance to respond while your creature was just kind of waiting to actually get hurt by the damage that was flying at it. And then you could pump the toughness back up to make it survive whatever. So they've really decreased in power since that's not an option, but it's still pretty sweet to be able to pump up toughness and then just kill with Death Touch, or pump up power, give it menace, which in many situations makes it unblockable. Yeah, this is solid enough. The zombie creature type is quite nice too, because zombies have quite a lot of ways of cheating stuff out or recurring stuff from the graveyard. Notably, when something dies and it does have a +1/+1 counter on it, it doesn't, Undying doesn't trigger, but it still just dies normally, like it's still just in your graveyard. So you can recur it back without a +1/+1 counter, give it Undying again, and the whole fun just continues. So I don't know. I think this maybe in the control or some sort of zombie deck. I think control loves a finisher like this because it's very evasive. It's hard to get rid of completely. It'll just apply pressure throughout the game. It's kind of like a mana sink later in the game. So it's like often the role of Morphling is just the solitary creature in a full-on draw-go control style deck. And nowadays, this has been largely supplemented by stuff like Creeping Tar Pit in the black decks, or Celestial Colonnade in the blue decks, the blue-white decks. It's like, because that has all of the advantages I just listed as being good for the lings, you know, the evasiveness, the persistent threat, the kind of value it gives you. So I don't know. I don't know if this is better than Creeping Tar Pit. It's pretty sweet though. I love the art too. Just all the different parallels between the two figures and how they've been decayed in the reflection. Nice, nice. Very nice. Okay. Future Sight. Ooh. This is a reprint, isn't it? Yeah, from way back in Onslaught. It's a cool card. I don't think it's really that strong. It's one of the few cards that shares its title with a set. So that's exciting. But I like this flavor text too. But no, I don't think this is really that great. Nah. It's like the decks that really could make good use of this and kind of do unfair things or really combo-y type things with it would much rather play like Ad Nauseam, Citadel, that Experimental Frenzy or whatever that card is called, or you are just kind of playing it for value, it's often just as good to play like Oracle or whatever and just get the lands, because so often you're just going to hit a land that you can't really do much with anyways, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's that strong. But it's fine that it's in Modern. Like, whenever I say stuff like this, it's like, well, then there's really no harm in that card being in Modern. All it does is sort of maybe bolster, like, really fringe, not tier decks, just kind of making them a little more powerful. Like if someone just has a really pet fascination with the deck that would play well with this, then why not? Just why not? Like, Yeah, so I'm fine with that. Throes of Chaos. Cascade Retrace. Whoa! Whoa! Beautiful. Really, really beautiful design. I love anything that's just two keyword mechanics, and that's it. And that's like the whole card, and it just works that way. I think that's so cool. So the idea here is that you cascade with it, you get to play something for free, and then every land in your hand, you just keep using this to cascade. That's so cool. You could build an entire deck just doing this, grinding out, like basically just making every single card in your hand gas, because it's either a land that you can dump the Throw of Chaos again, or it's just something that you can play. Yeah, I think this is really cool. The problem is, like, Cascade by itself isn't actually all that strong. It's like Cascade in combination with like a threat, like something like Bloodbraid Elf or Shardless Agent, where you're getting a body, you're putting pressure, you're establishing a board state, and then you're just getting extra spells for free. That's pretty sweet. Going out of your way to just cascade things, you really need a specific deck built around it. Now, what would be cool, that I just thought of while I was saying all this, is the good old Cascade Suspend deck, where you're just full of stuff like Ancestral Visions and Lotus Bloom and Restore Balance and all of these other extremely busted cards, like busted when you can actually just cast them right away. And then you repeatedly spam Throes of Chaos, and just rifle through all of those, I guess. That'd be pretty sweet. Maybe? I don't know. I'd like to see that deck at least. I'd like to see people try it. The nice thing too is that you could have this as kind of like your top end Cascader, and then also have some of the smaller Cascade guys. This can't cascade into Bloodbraid, unfortunately, and Shardless Agent isn't in Modern, so I'm not really sure who I'm thinking of exactly. But given that the things you want to cascade into are free, and when you cascade into something with Cascade, that Cascade trigger still happens too. So, yeah, I don't know. Please show me Cascade Tribal. I think that would be such a cool deck. Nether Spirit. Oh, this is an old card. The only creature in your graveyard, you may return it to the battlefield. So I think this might get played in some weird graveyard recursion decks, but I'm not too sure. My friend has a deck that he describes as just like bad black creatures. I don't think it plays this, but it plays a lot of things like this, like oh, such weird cards. They all have gross looking art. He's like such a fan of this deck. It's a legacy deck, and he often beats people with it because it's just like very well positioned in his local meta, I think. And I'm trying to think of what it's called. I feel like it's Nether something else, but maybe not. Well, whatever. But it has a lot of stuff like this. Like if it's the topmost creature card, it gets to come back. Or if there's two creature cards. Oh, Nether Shadow. Yeah. It has like Nether Shadow and stuff. And it's like, what? Is this a good card? Like, could this possibly be a good card? I don't think any of these are good cards. The kind of Nether mechanic, I just don't know if it works. This is a good card. This card is actually pretty crazy, but we're not going to worry about that. Okay. How do I say on the Jackson quotes? Oh, because it's a snake. Sure. Okay, that's fun. You get to ninja it in. It starts cloning itself. 3 power. It doesn't have any sort of evasion to get the other clones in. But I don't know. It's kind of neat. It's kind of weird because like Ninja isn't really a mechanic that like plays well with itself necessarily. Uh, well, I don't know. It's like I guess you have one half of your creature base is stuff like Invisible Stalker, whose game plan is just get in, and then you always want good ninja options in your hand, so you do run quite a few of them. But it's like they don't really play well with themselves. Like once this guy has ninja'd and gone down, it's not like he's going to get in and ninja other people necessarily. In fact, this is like block target number one because it's a 3-1. I don't know. I don't know. I'm like kind of speculating around how this hypothetical deck would work, but more likely it just won't exist. Nah. Nah. Never. No. Nope. Not. Alright, there we go. It's a cool card though. And I think there'll be kind of the casual power level of these ninja cards is definitely there and definitely well done. I am excited still though for Fallen Shinobi. I think this card it has the fact that it gives you like card advantage, that it gives you like exciting card advantage. Card advantage from their deck. I don't know. That just seems so powerful. Ruination Rioter. Whenever it dies, you may deal damage equal to any target equal to the number of land guards in your graveyard. Ooh. Okay, so anytime that you have like a free variable pointing to something, some number in your graveyard, things can start getting really scary. Because you could have your whole library in there. You know, that's not like an unrealistic thing to do in a lot of these formats. This is like a little more awkward than a lot of things that kind of work in the same way. Actually, these days, what's in vogue is just drawing your whole deck, not milling yourself out. But yeah, it's like there's an outside chance that this is actually the best combo option in some weird way. That you also have like some sack outlet that's helping facilitate the milling, and then so it's easy to sack this guy, and then you just one shot them because you've got all of your lands in there. Yeah, maybe there's some. Maybe it's like you play a deck with just very few things in general, and the fact that this guy comes down with like the two types of commonly free mana. You know, like you can get Chancellor of the Tangle and Simian Spirit Guide to pay for this guy. Makes me like a little, maybe something could happen, you know? I'm starting to see, ooh, turn one, but like, probably not really. It's just kind of neat, because it's also free, it's also cheap. And the stats are okay. I don't know why it says 1-1 here. Clearly this says 2-2. So yeah, maybe in a weird combo deck. Maybe. Or Scale Guardian. One last to cast for each land card in your graveyard. So I guess this is like a little bit of a theme we got going on here. It's kind of cool. Is this ever really going to be... I think this is more just for a mid-rangey type deck that plays fetches and stuff. And then just this comes down as like a value threat. And in that circumstance, it seems okay. It seems fairly strong, but not really good enough. and I don't know. It's flying hasty. Play this like turn 3, and if you've been fetching every turn, it only costs 3. It's pretty sweet. Yeah, I don't know. It seems okay. I wouldn't be shocked if I saw it somewhere. But it doesn't. It's never going to be like that explosive because you're always going to still pay 2 red. You're still at most just swinging with a 4/4 body. So maybe not. But it's nicely pushed. I'm happy to see how. It's like I could see them, given that this is like kind of a scary new territory. Like I don't think this line of text has ever appeared anywhere. And the fact that it is really quick to just fetch a few times and start getting that cost way down. I could see them being like very kid gloves with a card like this and make it cost like 10 mana or something. So I'm glad to see that it seems fairly pushed. Ooh, whoa, ho, 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 ho. Wow, hold on. This has never happened before, has it? Snow mana in the actual casting cost? Let's confirm quick before I freak out too much. I feel like I would remember a thing like that. See, I don't even think they have it here. Yeah. No, they don't. They have colorless mana, generic mana. They have all the hybrids, but they don't have snow. So how do we get snow is oh, they don't have snow here either. Should I just guess that it's S? Maybe. Anyways, what does this actually do? Oh, okay, that's cute. It filters your mana, and it has like a kind of bobble effect to draw a card. Okay, yes, it is S. So if we then put S in the mana cost, what do we get? I think it's just going to be this. That's crazy. You crazy for this one, Wizards. This actually now makes me think that Kaldheim is... It feels like if they were going to do Kaldheim, they would save this for Kaldheim as a big exciting new thing. It would be really weird if they were like, check this out. Now there's permanents that require snow mana to even play. Just like this one common in Modern Horizons. That just doesn't feel so exciting anymore. So I'm actually shocked that they didn't save this for that. It makes me think that maybe we aren't going to Kaldheim after all. Oh, and here we go. This is another. We haven't seen this yet, but I'm sure if I scroll down, there we go. So this is cool too because this makes snow mana. If that wasn't clear, because this is snow artifact, so it's making snow mana. So that's cool. So that's kind of neat. It's a 2/2 for 1. That's pretty rare. Oh. Usually that would have some fairly significant downside. The only exception I can think of it is Hound of something. This guy, who of course is legendary. That's kind of his downside, but you know this is like a fairly landmark card. If we look for other 2/2s for 1, I don't think we're going to see any that are this vanilla. So, of course, the downside here is that you need snow mana, but if you're just playing a bunch of snow basics, like if you're drafting Modern Horizons, I'm pretty sure you can add snow basics, right? So, yeah, it's like, why not? This card's pretty sweet. Mana cost, CMC equal to 1. Power equal to 2. Toughness equal to 2. Let's go greater than or equal to. Yeah, sack a creature, can't attack unless, can't attack alone. It's a vehicle. You have to like mill stuff. It's a wall. Gotta pay life. Gotta pay a pirate. Well, this thing's crazy. This thing's also crazy. And there's tapped, bounce an artifact. It defers to whoever's winning. People can just pay to kill it. I mean, it needs friends. Oh, there's my bud, the Goblin Guide. Of course, you need more Githkin. Gotta pay energy. More creature buddies. This thing is just transformed stats. So on and so forth. As you can see, it's pretty rare. So I think this thing is pretty cool. It's definitely showing that they're really willing to push things ahead of curve if they require snow mana, which makes me really excited about the potential of this mechanic because I really like the idea of conditionally like difficult to cast but very powerful things that are difficult to cast because of mana restrictions, not difficult to cast just because they're expensive. So that they come down really early and make like a big deal, but they required stringent deck building. That's cool. That's cool. All I'm saying is that's cool. So I think this card is cool. Crashing Footfalls. Okay, that's cool. We have another free suspend card. We haven't seen that in a long, long time. It suspends itself for quite cheap. I could see this card actually being decent to play fairly. You know, in this sort of kind of mono green control deck, which is something that people keep floating. Something like this, where you're really almost sure that the game is going to go on this long, and you're packing stuff like, I don't know, Primal Command and other things. I don't really know how this deck works. I just see people talking about it. This seems okay playing for fair. And then, of course, we have like our Cascade plans and stuff, where this is a solid enough target. You're creating 8 trampling power. That's pretty good. It's not as good as drawing 3. It's not as good as adding 3 for free or things like that. But those things don't necessarily win you the game. This is an actual clock that comes out of your suspend cast. So it's like these kind of cards that can be the finisher for control decks that I think always have some potential. So I'm going to say Falls is mono G control a meme. If not, maybe it wants this. Look at those rhinos. Look at them heading. Web Weaver Changeling. 3 more creature cards in the graveyard to gain 5 life. Neat. Not neat. Scary. But sure, I like it. Valiant Changeling. 1 less to cast for each creature type on creatures you control. Well, yeah. I don't get it. Like, this is unnecessary rule text, right? This is just like always true. So I'm surprised that they printed this and that it isn't printed as like italicized reminder text or anything like that. I'm actually very confused by this. But this is a very cool effect and not something we see too often. So if you have another shapeshifter down, or another changeling that is, this means that it's just 2 mana right away, because that's being reduced by like 300 or however many creature types there are. So I guess that's why they put this here, so that people don't think this costs like negative 295, and that by casting it you get to add 295 generic mana to your mana pool. I guess? I don't know. This seems solid enough. In limited, just the 3/3 double striking body is so sweet. And it's probably going to cost at least a couple less. Like, it wouldn't be surprising, you know, when you're thinking about playing this, you have at least a few creatures out there. It's cool, though. Kind of anti-tribal, or a very unique way of doing changeling tribal. It's very neat. Yeah. Okay. During Sliver, we have Outlast 2. So this is kind of interesting the way this is phrased. That it has Outlast and then other creatures also have Outlast. Whereas most slivers just say all slivers you control get whatever. I'm not sure why it's different. Maybe some rules guru out there can point out to me what subtle difference there is that makes them change how it's templated here. My only thought is that it's like they want to put this remainder text after the standalone instance of it, that they would feel awkward having it at the end of this sentence, because then it's like not so clear that it's referring just to Outlast 2, that you could somehow think that like this is referring to like some global ability of other slivers having Outlast 2. Do you know what I'm saying? But Also, not really. Like, I don't really know if that actually makes sense. At any rate, this card is fine. I feel like this is way too slow for this Sliver deck, but who knows? Who knows? Blade Black Sliver. Sliver controls. Oh, that's fun. That's quite exciting. It feels like this isn't too hard for the Sliver deck to achieve, because they just really want to be dumping their hand over and over and over again. And then if you are up on that game plan and you have dumped your hand over and over and over again, that probably means that you just win the game with this, because they all just ping down everything. You don't really have to worry about combat anymore. So that's cool. Combined with the Sliver that I assume exists that gives your guys vigilance, it becomes very scary. Kaya's Guile. Each opponent sacks a creature. Exile all cards from each opponent's graveyard. 1/1 black. When Black Spiritual firing, you gain 4 life. Choose all if you play the Entwine Cost. Entwine Cost. Now that's interesting, because I think before we've only ever seen Entwine on cards with 2 modes. And I assume that maybe by paying Entwine Cost here, you would just choose 2 of the modes. But no, you get all of them. So for 5 mana, you get to do all this stuff, which is kind of nice. For 3 mana, you get to do 2. I guess that's maybe why Entwine, because it's just doubling. So you get to Entwine 2. Yeah, before, okay, what I said before, obviously it's not going to just choose 2, because the main play chooses 2. Whatever. You get what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to evaluate this. This is, of course, like a very expensive way to just dump their graveyard. This is an expensive edict. But when you put them together, it's kind of a cheap thing. Gaining 4 is okay. I don't know. It's like all okay things. I think multiplayer EDH wants this, but I don't think want to be That's my feeling. Because, like, each opponent's graveyard, each opponent's sacks a creature, that's quite nice when you're in a multiplayer game. A lot of stuff isn't doing that. Most edicts are targeted, most graveyard hate is targeted. But outside of that, I don't know. I just don't think it's quite enough value. Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's like you compare this to something like Kolaghan's Command. Oh, there's going to be like a million things. But I couldn't remember how to spell Kolaghan. Kolaghan's Command. I guess it's a sort of similar feel. Yeah. Well, maybe it is good. Because, like, these cards are good. Or Kolaghan's Command, at least, is good. It's easy to underrate a card like this. I don't know. It seems alright. Goblin Oriflame. What? Isn't this a really old card? Excuse me? Actually, what I wanted to search for is Oriflame. Orcish Oriflame. This one is Goblin Oriflame. So, oh, it's just much cheaper. I see, I see. Oh! I know what's going on here. Check this out. This is hilarious. So we're looking at all editions, right? 4 mana, 4 mana, 4 mana, 4 mana. 2 mana! So for some reason, in Alpha, they printed it with 2 mana. And they just like didn't want to. I think it was like a design desynchronization or whatever. So this is like a reference to that, I guess. That's very cute. And this was briefly banned because of the confusion around whether it costs 2 or 4. I think this is the only time this has happened. If there's other examples, I'd like to know, because I think that's just hilarious. So yeah, it's like really bad at 4 mana. At 2 mana, maybe it's okay, but I kind of doubt it. And then we have another quote from this book, which is often quoted. Maybe it's like, it's difficult and dire to pile the correct mana cost on a card. simply accumulating the different MO designs. Nantaku Cultivator. Any number of land cards, but that's ooh. Do you see? Do you see the combos building up unlimited? How many +1/+1 counters on it and draw that many cards? That's very cool. But I don't think that's gonna get us there. Sure. Ingenious Infiltrator, another ninjutsu card. So here we're getting a bit of Ninja Tribal. Alright, so the casual ninja deck is really coming together, I think. And maybe if this whole Fallen Shinobi card advantage deck thing that I really want to believe could possibly exist does come together, this is good in it, but I kind of doubt it. It's like that the appeal of that card is that it works largely on its own, and it just starts like really putting in work. It doesn't need that much specific support. You just need like evasive attacking creatures, which is like not a bad thing to have in your deck. Spite Mare Sliver. When this creature is dealt damage, deals that much damage to target creature at Planeswalker. Damn. Yeah, that's a little spooky. Man, they're really. It feels like they're going to try to go as hard as they can on the Sliver deck, just to see could it ever poke its way into Modern. I don't know. This is probably not going to be the one to make or break it, but it feels like a really like hopeless card. You know, they do a good job with these slivers. I think just kind of with a real good feeling of dread that this thing comes down. And it's like, well, what can we possibly do now? And I also think there's some probably cool combo potential here. There might be some little loops you can get going. You'll need something to give it like indestructible or make it really beefy though. All right. Yeah. Something. It's something. Smell. I guess I should say something about this one. Still am unsure about the Sliver deck. I could see there. Smell. Counter target smell. If you have 5 or less life, smell. Good smell. Yeah, this is alright. Being able to counter draw is pretty sweet. It's okay until then. I like the return of Fateful Hour. I always thought that was a cool mechanic. Yeah, I don't know. Does Death Shadow want this? Probably not. It's too slow. It's the wrong colors, and that's not how they want to win. Talisman of Resilience. So I think this is going to be a cycle of enemy color mana rocks. Seems okay. Yeah, it seems okay. I think in like limited or in like a cube. Yeah, here's the rest. They all have some Ravnica people talking about the dynamics of power and what have you. Nice. Oh, this isn't a Ravnica person, but whatever. Pain of exploring is less than the pain of not knowing. I like it. I like it. Yeah, I think these will be staples and cubes for a long time to come. Because it's basically just like a signet, but different. And you might even want both signets and these. They have a bit of a different dynamic than signets, which is exciting. Eldamari's Call. Search your library for your creature card, reveal that card, put it in your hand, and shuffle your library. Well, that's simple enough. Oh, this is a reprint, I see. Sure. Maybe? It's pretty sweet. And kind of a hate bear toolbox deck. Eldamari's Call. Sure, maybe in some hate bear toolbox magic bullet deck. Which I would like to see. I think those decks are really cool. because they mostly just fight mid-range, which I think is really interesting. And then it's all about just kind of coming up with the ideal card. Do you want your Gaddock Teeg? Do you want your Knight of Autumn? Do you want your, I don't know, something else? Probably just want Knight of Autumn. But, ooh, all right, what's going on here? Cast Dissident Mage. This is a commander reprint. Interesting, interesting. So that is an option they have here. Commander cards are, of course, already legal in Legacy, but you can put them into Modern this way. Cast an insert sorcery card from your graveyard. Urbex. Okay. Loss has no meaning here. Well, whatever. You can write your own stupid meme joke, but just know that I was trying as well. This card is really cool, but oops, I can't imagine this is like the actual engine that any deck needs. It doesn't let you cast anything for free, you know? It only lets you cast it once, and then it's exiled. It's pretty cool. Like, you can definitely see why people love this in Commander, or presumably they do. But, sure. Segovian Angel. Wow. Wow. Oh, yeah, so Segovia is where that tiny Leviathan is from. Yeah, this thing. And it's like, how is this thing that is bigger than whales just a 3/3? So here we can see, so they decided that this plane, Segovia, was like, actually I know what we can do, was a miniature plane. This was like the official explanation for why the Leviathan was so small. So they came up with this awesome like tilt shift photography style to make it look like everything was really small, and that it's this kind of like Roman Empire Colosseum world. But everything is really tiny. All creatures get -5, -0. Cool. So this is similarly a tiny little angel. Oh my god, I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. For like Angel Tribal, which is a deck that A, doesn't exist, and B, kind of starts its mana curve at 4. Sarah Avenger notwithstanding, because of course you can't play that for a while. Not that there's many Angel Tribal cards, but I'm sure there's people out there that want to do it. And now they have this tiny little 1-drop Angel. Flying Vigilance. Oh, I love it. Oh yeah, they're fighting the Gnats. I'm seeing battle numbered among the multi. Wow, I love it. I love everything about this card so much. Tiny little angel. Ah, it's so cute. Okay. This is like maybe an okay pickup in limited. That's all I can say about that. And now we're caught up. Nice, nice, very good. Yeah, so please join me for what we got. 3 more days of spoilers, I think. And then we'll have seen this whole set. And then maybe at around that time, I promised that we would do this before, but we'll also look at my predictions for whether cards from War of the Spark would make it into constructed formats. And see if we got stuff right or wrong. I said many things like this that seemed like they turned out okay. Then I said things like, well, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, that's all for now. Bye-bye.